Hi, in this session I'm going to cover how to create a fishbone diagram. It's also known as an Ishikawa diagram, which was named after Kaoru Ishikawa, a professor in Tokyo that was popular in the quality circles. And actually it's also called a cause and effect diagram. Now the fishbone diagram is used to identify causes for a problem. So we state the problem and we write the effect here in this box. And then we define some categories. So these are the 6M categories, very popular in manufacturing: machine, method, materials, manpower, mother nature, and measurement. In service industries, there's the 4 Ps: policy, procedures, people, and plant/technology. Now those are used to identify the causes. So those are the causes that are attributed to this particular problem or effect. So I'll go ahead and show you how to create something like this. But let's go first and look at an example of how this looks. Let me go to the example tab here, and this is a larger example of what I showed earlier. So we have our effect, and here are our causes. These are the categories that the causes are under. Now the way I created these were basically, this can be a template, and all you need to do is change the values within this table and it will change it here. So let's say for machine 1 I called that, made that machine cause 1, and then this maybe is machine cause 2. And you can see that the values within these boxes have changed. Now let's say this is manpower 1 and this is manpower 2 per center, and you can see it's changed here. So I'll show you how to create this so it makes it a little bit more dynamic. You don't have to go in and retype it in. Each one you can just go up and down the table here to type it in, and that will adjust the cells in here. So let's go ahead and see how we can create this. I already went ahead and copied this table in sheet 3 here. Now all we need to do is start to draw the shapes. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and insert a shape. Let me insert a rounded rectangle, and that's going to be my effect box. And after I draw that, I can just type in the word effect. And then let's go ahead and center this. We'll align this, go into the home tab. We'll go ahead and middle align this and also center align it. So now we've got that. The next thing I want to insert is a arrow. So I'm going to go ahead and insert this arrow here, this line arrow. Let me go ahead and draw it out. Oops. Now I'm going to go ahead and straighten that a little bit. That doesn't look right, so just delete that and we'll draw it again. So maybe I can just draw a straight line, and then I'll just left click and move it over here. Alright, so now I've got my arrow here, and now I need to draw my fish bones, the other bones, the diagonal lines. And so for that I'm going to use the line here. Now they've got some recently used shapes, I can use that, but these actually take from the different shapes that we have here. So I'm going to go ahead and take that line, and I'm going to draw a diagonal line here. And then I'm also going to take that line. You can see that now, since I've selected a shape object, the Format Contextual tab shows up, and it shows an Insert Shapes group, and it's the last shapes that I've used. So I'm just going to go ahead and click that and bring another line in here. Let me make sure these align. So that doesn't align, so go ahead and click on that and use the left arrow key on the keyboard and just move it back a little bit. Okay, that looks pretty good. Now I'm going to shorten this later, but let me go ahead and just add 2 more lines on the top and 2 more lines on the bottom. So I don't need to go ahead and draw it again. All I need to do is select it and then press Control D, and what it's going to do is it's going to duplicate that object. So I'm going to bring this over here in the middle, and then I just press Control D, and then it's going to duplicate. So I just use the arrow key on the keyboard, let it go down, shift it down, and then maybe that should be good enough. So I'm going to do the same for the bottom one. The bottom line here, I'm going to select it, press Control D to duplicate, and just bring it over here to match, and then Control D to duplicate, and it's duplicated it actually pretty well. Maybe need to just move it a little bit here to the right with the arrow key on the keyboard. And I'm going to shorten this. I don't want this to be sticking out like that, so I'm just going to go ahead and bring that in a little bit. And maybe move this up a little bit with the arrow key. And then maybe move it to the left. And move this up. So you can see there's a lot of like just little small adjustments you can make with the mouse and the keyboard. So that should be good enough for now. Now for the next object, I'm going to insert the rounded rectangle again. But I'm just going to make it a little bit more elongated. Probably about there. And here I'm going to click, after this is selected, I'm just going to click in the form of the bar and type equal. And that's going to be machine. So I'm just going to select that cell. And you can see it selected that cell. It has a $A, $1. That's called an absolute cell reference. So it's basically going to point to that cell. If I press enter, you'll see that it has entered the cell values in there. What I need to do also is probably format it a little bit. I'm going to center it and also make it actually 11 font size is fine. So what I can do now is just go ahead and Control D to duplicate this. So once this is selected, I'll just press Control D and move this over here. And now you can see that it's still selected for A1. So what I can do, if that's selected, I can just backspace that or delete it. Just make sure the equal sign is there, and this is going to be the next one, method. So now you see it's A2. Okay, press enter, and you see that's changed to method. Let me move this one down a little bit. Now I just go ahead and have to do the same for the other 4 lines here, the other categories. So I'll just go ahead and speed up this video, and you can see that, well, actually I'll do one more for an example. I'll just press Control D and move this over here. And since this is selected, you can see the form of the bar points to A2, which is this one. So I can just press equal, and I want materials. Press enter. You can see now materials is there. So now you can probably get the gist of what I'm trying to do. I'm going to go ahead and just speed up this video. I'm going to do the same for the bottom 4 here, and just do Control D and point it to the correct cell reference. So let's go ahead and put that in there. Okay, now I've got my categories. Now I want to have the causes down here. I'll put 2 boxes here and then 2 boxes here, just like in our previous example. So with that, I'm going to select another shape, and this is going to be the callout shape. I'm just going to go ahead and use this one, this callout, and I'm going to draw it here. You notice when I draw it, it actually puts the line over here. This is adjustable. We can actually move this. So I'm going to move this over here, and then move this over here, make it look like a straight line, and then move this up here. See now? And then now with this, I'm going to do the same thing what I did with the categories. I'm going to select that and just put an equal sign here on the top of the formula bar, and since this is under machine, I'm going to select cell B1 and then press enter. You can see now it's there. I'm also going to format the font and the font size and make that a little bit smaller, but I'm going to go ahead and middle line it and center it and make this font size probably a little bit smaller. 9 would be good. And let me go ahead and move that over here a little bit so it matches, so it just goes up to the line here. And the same thing I did here, I'm just going to go ahead and press Control D to duplicate that, and have this fall underneath here. And then I also have to change the cell reference this is pointing to. So it says B1, but I actually wanted to say C1. So I'll go ahead and select that, equal C1. Alright, and now I've got these two up here. I'm going to create two at the bottom. So let me go ahead and just pull one of these, select one of these, Control D, and I'm going to put one at the bottom here. This is going to point to, this is measurement, so we have to go to the measurement. It needs to point to this one. So under the formula bar, equals measurement, it's going to be cell B4. Press enter, and then I'm going to go ahead and Control D to duplicate that. Oops. Let me go ahead and just select this one, and then Control D to duplicate that. Put it over here. And then this is also measurement. So I need to select cell C4. So alright, so this is going to be C4. Go ahead and select that, equals C4. Press enter. Now what I can do now is, just to make it easier so I don't have to copy one by one, I'm going to select this one and press the Control key to select that one. So I multi-select it. These two are selected. Just press Control D, and now it's duplicated two of these. I'm going to move them over here, and then press Control D again. It created some more duplicates, and it moved it over there. I need to move this one to the line a little bit, that one to the line a little bit. And now here the same thing, you just need to point this to the correct cell references. This is under method. Go ahead and equals method, cause one here, press enter. Same thing for this one. This is the second cause. Press equal, and that should point to this. Press enter. And the same for this, right? This is going to go under materials, press equal, and this one. And then the second cause under materials equals, and then that. So I'm going to do the same I did on top here for the bottom one, so I'll go ahead and speed up this video. So now we have our categories with the causes on both the top and bottom. And let's see how let's test it out and see if our cell references are pointing to the right place. So let's look at method. Method, I'll go ahead and change this to method 1, and then the next one to method 2. And so you see here, it has changed. And let me try manpower. Let's see manpower worked. I'll just call this MP1 and MP2. So now our cell references have point to the table. So all we need to do is just adjust the table, and then this will be adjusted. So if you wanted to think about adding more words in here, you might want to reduce either the font size or increase the box size. So that's up to you in terms of how you want to do it. So how do we change the colors and some of the thickness of the arrows? Well, I'll go ahead and show you. So for this, I'm just going to go ahead and go under. When I selected that, the Format Contextual menu came up. So I'm just going to go ahead and go under the Shape Styles and select red here. So this is kind of a nice beveled shaped red box. And also with the line here, I wanted to have a darker line. So I'm going to select the line here. It's selected. And just go into Shape Styles. And I'm going to select the darker line. For these, I want to do the same thing, get a nice darker black line. But maybe not as heavy as that. So I'm going to go and select the second one here. And a tip for you, if you already have performed an action in Excel, there's actually pressing the F4 key can repeat that action. So what I do is I select that cell and press the F4 key, and basically it repeats that action. Press the F4 key, repeats it here. Select this F4, select this F4, select this F4, and it's done that. Let's say I wanted to do the same. I wanted to add some different colors here. I'm going to go and select that. This one, I'm going to give it I'll give it this style. Alright, it looks kind of nice, so I'll go ahead and, so I want to do the same for this one. I'll go ahead and select this, press F4, it repeats the last action, F4, 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 F4. Great. And now for this last one, let's see what kind of line styles I have. I can probably use something like this maybe. Yeah, I'll use this one instead of the last one I used. So, same thing. Select that, F4, 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 and function 4, F4, and basically repeats the last actions. And here we have kind of a nice visual fishbone diagram. We can select this and change our effect, whatever problem it is. And these are our categories up here, and you can just adjust your table here and it will be adjusted here. So there's just some things that you can do to, if you need more room, you can decrease the font size or increase the box sizes. One more last thing is that if you wanted to move this around, you notice like you can't just you have to select all these objects in order to move around. If I selected this and tried to move it around, it wouldn't move the whole thing. Do a Control Z to undo that. So what you need to do is you need to group all these objects together. There's quite a few objects here. You know, there's this rectangle box object, there's this arrow object, these lines, they're all one object. So what you need to do is select all these objects and group them as one. And the easy way to do that is to press the F5 key. You're going to have this go to menu box come up. You want to go to special, and then you want to select the objects radio button here. Click OK. What it's going to do is select all these objects now. And you can click any of these objects and just do a right click and go to group, and you want to group them all. So now it's grouped them all into one object, which you can move around. If I selected this, I can just basically, you can wait, you have to kind of hover over the line until it turns into a 4 arrow cursor. You just can move it around. You can also resize it. I can resize that, and it's not going to adversely affect the text sizes and whatnot. So this is kind of a nice way to like select all these groups together and move them around. So here is your fishbone diagram. I hope that helps. Thanks for watching.